Hey guys, how are you? Thank you so much for tuning in. Long time no see. As some of you may know, I just finished my 200-hour yoga teacher training, and that is what this video is going to be about. So first, let's talk logistics. Okay, so usually for a 200-hour yoga teacher training, there are two formats. So there's the intensive, where you do it all in 1 month. Then there's the weekend one, which is about, I think, usually 10 to 12 weeks long, and the classes take place on Friday nights and all day Saturday and Sunday. The one that I chose, mainly because of time constraints and because I like a challenge, is I took the intensive one, and so for the whole month of June I was doing the yoga teacher training. So our days were really long, and this is kind of what they looked like. So we would start out every morning by doing a practice, like an hour, 5-minute long yoga practice. And then we would have a 4-hour lecture. So that would either be a physical lecture, so where you learn about postures or how to adjust people, stuff like that. Or you would have a lecture about the philosophy of yoga or anatomy or subtle anatomy. During those lectures, you sit on the floor with your back straight, and for 4 hours you have to pay attention. And then you get an hour for lunch, and then another 4-hour lecture, which may be physical or not. So yeah, sounds easy, right? And then we had to do 25 hours of work outside of class, which consisted of 5 hours of community service, 10 hours of observation, so you just pretty much sit in on a class in the studio and just watch the teacher and see how they work. And then you do 10 hours of adjustment. So you get together with your classmates and you guys just adjust each other in different poses. So this is the school I went to. I'm not sure if all schools are like this, but I'm sure there would be some similarities. So as far as the difference between the intensive and the weekend courses, the intensive one is intense. Like, there's an advantage to the weekend courses where you learn something those 3 days, and then you kind of have time to let it settle in and, you know, really absorb the information. Whereas the intensive course, everything, you're just like bam, 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 like bombarded with information, and you're just like, whoa, what am I doing? And like, what's going on? But then, like, eventually the dust settles and you're like, wow, you know. So it just depends on you and your time constraints and everything like that. So I didn't really know exactly what I was getting myself into when I was signing up for yoga teacher training. Pretty much I knew that I had wanted to improve my practice. I knew that I wanted to learn how to be a teacher. And yeah, I just, you know, wanted to make some friends and have a good time. Also, as some of you may know, I've been kind of in a transitional stage in my life, and I figured anyone who did this program is probably in a similar place, so I figured it would be really cool to connect with people like that. Got a lot more than I bargained for. I actually got out of it all of these things, but like with anything else in life, you get out of it what you put into it. So everyone got a little bit of everything, but it's just a matter of what you want to apply to your life and if you're ready to absorb that information or not. Something interesting that was happening to me and to a few other people during the training was, okay, so this was really like the first time in my life that I had done so much yoga in a month or in a day. And, you know, pretty much does is it creates space in your body, and you want to lengthen and pull up and all of that. And what I didn't know, or I didn't want to admit that I knew, is, you know, we store a lot of emotions in our body. Like, if you have a lot of negativity inside of you and you don't have an outlet to release it and you just store it, or you have resentment or, you know, anything, you can't trick your body. All of that is in there and it can make you sick. So what had happened to me was we're doing all these poses and I'm creating all this room in my body, and all my emotions are coming out, and I'm going home and I'm crying like crazy, and I'm having all these old emotions come up, and it was just intense. And I'm really happy that I was with my classmates during this time, because it helped me understand that this was a normal part of the process. And this is just good for anyone to know, like if you start doing a really deep yoga practice or meditative practice or any kind of self-healing work, that yeah, old emotions are going to come up, and it's totally cool and normal to deal with them and cry it out. And you know, it might be hard for your loved ones, like it was probably for mine, but you know, they'll help you get through it. And another thing that I was dealing with during this period was feeling guilty. And I know that a lot of people who start doing self-healing work, whether it be a new diet or going to a therapist or anything, a lot of people start to feel guilty for taking time to themselves and trying to better themselves, when we all feel like, you know, we should be giving to others and being there for others and stuff like that. So actually, it's really good to realize that self-healing is one of the most important things you can do, because when you change yourself and when you really start to heal yourself, it actually affects how you treat others and how you come off in the world. Like if you're standing and you see a really happy person walking down the street, you want to be that person and you want to be happy too, and like you want to try to imitate that. And again, like if you're surrounded by like a really negative person, you're just like, oh yeah, like, you know, this sucks. So yeah, self-healing is really important. And to use an example from Max Strom, you know, you can spend 7 years trying to get your foot behind your head, and then one day it happens and you come home and you say to your spouse, honey, look, I got my foot behind my head. And they'll just look at you and they'll say, okay, but you're still an asshole to me, right? So it doesn't matter, you know, if you get your foot behind your head, but if you're not working on yourself and being nicer to people, then what do all these things matter? The lesson that I learned was from one of the teachers at my school, and his name was Will, so hey Will. And I took his workshop called Let Go of Your Bullshit, and it was freaking awesome. And there's two things from this workshop that I really loved and I really took away. And so one of the things we talked about was this saying, which is 99% is a bitch, 100% is a breeze. So the example he used was like, if let's say you're giving up McDonald's, right? You're going to give it up 100%, no matter what, no excuses. You see McDonald's, you drive straight by it, 100%, no chance. But if you give yourself that 99%, that 1% is going to annoy you so much, and you're always going to be thinking about it and questioning yourself and maybe even giving yourself an excuse to go and eat McDonald's. So that's kind of just a good way to look at life. If you're going to do something, do it 100%. If you're going to try to be a really positive person, do it 100%. You know, anything, like do it 100%. The next thing that I really liked in this lecture was talking about success. So I know for me this is a problem, because if I do something, I want to see instant success, instant results, and I get really upset if I don't, and I really start to beat myself up. But success doesn't have a straight trajectory like that. In fact, what he said is success goes more like this. So you're going up, and then it's like, and then it goes up again. So you really need to have that part of it that's just complete chaos and everything, you know, to figure it out. And if you don't give yourself the space to do that, who knows what your trajectory might look like. Maybe it'll look like this, or I don't know. Just something to consider. Another really important lesson I learned was from this woman in my class named Anne, and it was part of her book report. And she had said, you know, take a note card and you write down the worst thing, the absolute worst fucking thing that happened in your life. And then you flip the note card around and you write why it was the best thing that happened to you. You know, what you learned from it, how you grew as a person from it. It could, you know, anything. And this is like a really good way to really look at life as a series of learning events that make you better and better and better, rather than looking at life as a series of events that just happen to you and it's random, you know, because it's really not random. And the third really important lesson I learned was from one of the teachers there named Dominic. Among many other things I learned from his lecture but one of the things that I really took away from it was, if you have a goal or if you want something, just acknowledge that you want it and throw it into the flow. You know, just throw it into the flow of life and eventually you will get there. On the other hand, if you just focus on only that one thing, you will never get it, like ever, you know? So that's another thing to learn too, is don't obsess about anything. Don't make it your only thing in life, but just throw it in the flow and I promise you that it will happen. So yeah, I mean, I had so many amazing teachers this month, and I wish that I could list all of you in this video. And I've just learned so much from all my classmates and all my teachers, and it was just an amazing experience. And one thing that I just want to leave off with, and I want you guys to just remember, is our thoughts become things. And however you perceive the world or however you think about the world, it's real, and your world will reflect that. So what I'm trying to get at is just try to see the good in the world, try to see the good in people, and don't always look for the negative. Strive to just be joyful, be happy, or not even be happy, but just be positive. And I know it's easier said than done, but if you just do a little every day and just try 100% to be positive, and see what happens. Okay, if you guys have any questions, I know this video was a little bit all over the place, but I just have so much to say and not enough time to say it. But yeah, if you guys have any questions or have experience anything with the yoga teacher training or with your yoga practice or with anything in life ever, feel free to post it down below. Okay, I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day. Bye.